This session coming up right away has a title that speaks for itself: The History of Men's Underwear. Through this witty tale, learn how factors other than features and functionality can influence how products are marketed and consumed in today's dynamic world. To speak to us on the subject, please put your hands together for Mr. Dave McCaughan. This session is brought to you by Oyala and IDA Ireland.
I have an impossible task. Quite obviously, I am never going to reach the heights of the last speaker. My story will be somewhat smaller. And I'm actually not going to talk about underpants, which is probably disappointing because from what I heard last night at the awards dinner, a number of people had heard about the workshop I did yesterday and the fact that I do like to take my trousers off on stage. But today I'm not going to. So forgive me, I've changed the subject matter a little bit as I thought about this occasion. About a week ago, as I was preparing for this, I was looking through different things and I spent a lot of time Googling stuff. I guess most of us do. And I was actually Googling about the term consumer awareness. Now, for some reason, when you Google the term consumer awareness, on about page 20 of the Google search, you're going to find this photo. Now, I know this photo all means something else to many of you in the room, but to me, despite the fact that, you know, great actors, very funny, all the rest of it, what it really stands for is the process that all business people have to go through, the number one thing that business people have to think about, which is what matters to the people you're trying to sell to. Listening, seeing, understanding what matters to them. And that's really the theme of what I want to talk about. What matters to people? Now, to start, you'll notice that I do not use the word what matters to consumers or what matters to customers, what matters to clients, because you should never use those three C words. Consumer, customer, client are evil words in the lexicon of business. Because what they do is they make us focus on a tiny fraction of people. Nobody in this room has ever come to a meeting like this and said, "Hi, my name's Dave, I'm a consumer." Nobody introduces themselves at a party as, "Hey, I'm Dave, I'm a customer." You don't do that. You're people, and the people you're trying to sell to are people, and what matters to them is what matters to you. So let's think about it in terms of entrepreneurship. I'm guessing everybody in the room has an opinion on who's the most famous entrepreneur in the world. We've heard the last day and a half from some very good entrepreneurs, some very famous entrepreneurs, perhaps here in India. Many people in the world, when you do surveys and you ask the question, who's the most famous entrepreneur in the world, this man is the answer. Does anybody know who that is? Sorry? No. So Richard Branson. That's what he looked like when he made his millions, when he became the most successful music entrepreneur in the world at one stage, when he started Virgin Vodka, when he started Virgin Airlines. Of course, now he looks like that because, just like me, it's cooler to have long grey hair and a goatee beard. But why was he successful? He was successful not because of a new business model. He sold records. He sold vodka that eventually failed. He sold airlines. He sold over 50 different products under the name Virgin. But the one commonality that the business of Virgin has is understanding what people want. Not what everybody wants, but there are enough people in the world that are focused on the fact that they want to be rebellious, but in a pampered way. They want to be rebellious in a pampered way. And that's the fundamental foundation of his business and his success, understanding what people want. None of you will recognise this entrepreneur. I worked with this guy 25 years ago in an ad agency in Australia. Later on, he went to America. He worked in ad agencies. He worked for Coca-Cola for a while. He did different things. And 2 years ago, I was really amazed, hadn't heard from him for 10 years, and I saw his face on Facebook. And the reason he was on Facebook was because he was promoting his new business. And his new business is this. In Los Angeles, he'd opened a restaurant. It's called the Authentic Aussie Pie Kitchen. Now, the reaction from an Australian like me is, who the hell in the world wants to eat an Aussie pie except Australians? It's a basic working class food. Most of you in the audience would find it very, very bland. You normally eat the pie topped off with mushy peas and mashed potato and very bland gravy. In 2 years, his restaurant, his second restaurant, now his third restaurant, and soon to be, they are all in LA, and now he's about to open one in New York, but in LA, it's the hottest restaurant in Los Angeles. He sells meat pies from Australia. This is what he serves. Celebrities go there. Every single week, his Facebook page is full of photos of him hugging celebrities that have come to sit in what looks like a normal cafe, eating meat pies and drinking flat white coffees. Why? Because of this. Because of this. It's a way in which we philosophize. We do it now, but the Romans, this is from Pompeii. This was a guy, a soldier, basically asking if anybody knew hot chicks. The reality is that if you think about toilets, we use them to define our home, our health, our humour. We use them to pass experiences, pass time, pass wisdom. We can't live without them. We can't ignore them, which of course makes them the ultimate social medium. We can live without Facebook. You can live without Twitter. Can't live without a toilet. And the toilet defines who you are. And of course, it's much, much cleaner than this filthy device. Recent studies done by WHO around the world indicate that in a typical home that has an indoor flushing toilet, the seat of that toilet and your mobile phone, this has 70 times more bacteria on it than the seat of the toilet. Quite literally, in middle-class homes around the world, if you're going to eat off the floor, please eat off the toilet floor because it is by far the cleanest surface in the house. Toilets get cleaned, 50% of all bacterial removal cleaning in a home happens in the toilet. Less than 2% in the kitchen. The filthiest place in the home is always the kitchen, the cleanest is the toilet. So think about these three guys again, John, Tom and Jack. They understood what matters to people. Save me. He was making toilets for royalty and palaces, save me from that messy stuff going on that poor people do. Tom, save me. Because what literally he was doing was help in late 19th century England, people, the masses, become saved from the cholera and all sorts of other epidemics by the installation of mass toilet schemes. Jack, please save me. He's actually dealing with the bottom third of the world's population who literally have to be saved from mass epidemics that happen through toilets. But what did they really understand people want? John understood that for an exclusive market, they want exclusivity. They wanted toilets because nobody else could have them. Tom understood aspiration. He understood that the new middle classes, the developed middle class of London at first, and then other cities in England, and then eventually the rest of the world, wanted to aspire to be different, wanted to aspire to a different type of lifestyle, wanted to aspire not only to a better health, but to actually to have a differentiating lifestyle experience, and that was a flushing toilet. And Jack is an entrepreneur that understands that people want a better life, better health, better life in general. That's what they understood. That's what matters to people. So my challenge to all of you is, whether you're starting a business, whether you're a very successful business person, and many of you are, but what really matters to the people you're trying to sell stuff to? What really matters? Don't tell me they want a more efficient machine. Don't tell me they want price off. What really matters to them? That's what drives behaviour change. That's what drives true entrepreneurship. Success comes from knowing what people want. Thank you very much. If we got time and somebody wants to ask me, I'll tell you what bibliosexual means, which is my company name. Nobody cares?
Can I ask?
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay. It comes because this whole thing about toilets comes from the thought. If bibliosexual actually is a psychological sexual fetish, okay, there are, believe it or not, people in the world that the smell and touch of we haven't got one, of a book actually makes them sexually excited. I spent the first 10 years of my working life as a children's librarian, working in public libraries in Australia. And I actually came across a couple of these guys. Guys who would go into the back shelves of the library, pick up a book, and just start sniffing. Not open the book, not read it, just pull down their pants and ejaculate. I was the guy who had to clean up the mess. It was the worst job of my life. But it made me find out about this. And you go, what? But actually, what bibliosexual has come to mean is people that have an irrational love of particular mediums. And we all do. Every one of us has a particular irrational love of mediums. Think about it in simple terms. What's the most disreputable newspaper in Chennai? Take that newspaper, take The Economist magazine, and put the exact same article in it. If it's in The Economist, most of you as business people will go, oh, that must be pretty good. If you'd read it in that other newspaper, you go, it's probably all garbage, it's probably all wrong. The place we put stuff, the medium we put stuff matters more than the content usually. Think about other mediums and the way in which we have an irrational belief in them. All of you are wearing mediums at the moment. There's some gentlemen up the front wearing suits, right? Why do you wear suits to an event like this? Why is there a guy over there in a casual shirt and jeans? Why is he like that? Well, as somebody said in the workshop to me, well, I wear a suit because it makes me look serious, right? I wear casual jeans and a shirt because it makes me look casual. The way we dress is a fetishist medium. We're bibliosexuals. We have irrational, as I pointed out yesterday, what would be the rational thing? I'll pick on the man here right in front of me. What would be the rational clothing for you, living in Chennai, what's the most rational clothing for you to be wearing?
Depends based on the climate.
No, in Chennai.
In Chennai, that's what. Chennai is humid place.
Yeah, so what's the most rational clothing?
Nice cotton, perfect ironing.
No. No. Nothing. It's absolutely irrational for anybody in this room to be wearing clothing. You are not rational beings. Human beings don't work rationally. If they did, we'd all be sitting under a tree naked. We would not be using air conditioning. We would not be building palaces like this in which we need to put on a coat because we're cold inside. That's not rational, that's idiotic. It's the opposite of being rational, it's being stupid. And this man is stupid because he's wearing a suit. I'm stupid because I'm standing here. I should literally be taking my trousers off right now if I was rational. Because we believe in mediums doing certain things. The reason why we wear clothes today, the underwear today, my other speech, is all got to do with irrational behaviours driven by social norms and social mediums. And so toilets are a fundamental medium. It sounds ridiculous, but they are. And what you're doing is based, if you're successful, is not based on your customer, client, consumers' rational thinking. It's based on people's biases, people's backgrounds, people's cultural misunderstanding of things. Why they pick you over you. In any category, at any time. That's what a bibliosexual is all about. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
What makes Ireland great? Is it this? Or is it this? Is it the rugged sounds of ancient dial? Or the fizz and hum of computer file? Our legion of genius writers. And then, new geniuses who've never even lifted pen. There's the gab with the gift, the eyes with the glint, the talk and the wit. Great to do business with. People, talent. People, talent, passion, rebellion, innovation, education. A famous welcome by the 100,000. An emerald isle, so European, the green. Hub, hive, source, thrive. What makes Ireland great? Makes Ireland great for business. See why at idaireland.com.